Hi, this is Ushio, and today we're going to talk about Beastars. There's the book. Yes, there we go. It's one of these rare occasions where I've read the manga and I've watched the anime. I don't get to watch a lot of anime these days because I'm too busy reading manga or doing other things, But I have read this, and I have currently got up to, hang on, where are we? Volume 5. So, if you've seen the anime on Netflix, it kind of goes up to about volume 6 from what I can tell. Volume 5 goes up to about episode like 11ish, and there's only 12 episodes there. So I can kind of do a little bit of a comparison. I'm going to focus more on the manga, but obviously the animes, because I've watched it, I'm going to mention that as well. So, Beastars, what is it about? Obviously, this is not a human. This is a wolf, and everybody in the manga is... The humans don't exist. Everyone's an animal of some description. So Beastars setup is basically a whole society of all kinds of animals, but the hard division between all these people, you have the carnivores and you have the herbivores. Omnivores, kind of like, they're tolerated by both sides. Like, they all go to school, they all live together, work together, study together, and it's basically a little bit of tension behind the scenes. On the surface, everybody gets on, everybody's fine, everyone's a friend. However, the tensions kind of come a bit more to the fore. One of the students gets killed on sight by an unidentified attacker. People assume that it's one of the carnivores. We don't know yet. Apparently it gets revealed later, but I don't know yet, so please don't tell me. So basically, Legoshi is the main character. He's like a grey wolf, and everyone finds him scary because he's one of the biggest carnivores at school. But he's actually very mild-mannered, he's very gentle, and he doesn't mean any harm to anyone. And he resents the fact that he's a carnivore, and that other people might be scared of him. He doesn't want to get into trouble, and he keeps a very low profile. Then you've got Lewis. Lewis is a very hardcore, determined deer. He's a herbivore. He resents the fact that he's a herbivore, and he will do anything in his power to become the Beastar, which I think is kind of like the head of the student council. It's not really been fully explained, I don't think, unless I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, he wants to be Beastar. He wants to be like top dog, so to speak, and he's the current hot favorite. Everybody likes him, even though behind the scenes he's kind of like a very intense, driven individual. And then we have got Haru. Haru is a rabbit, and she runs the flower club, and everybody thinks she looks cute, and she hates being looked down on herself, and she just wants to live her life and be respected. She's quite a complex character, and that's one of the interesting things about the manga. All of the three main characters, there are more characters, but I would say the core three, these guys, any of these people could have been the main character. And if you got three such strong main characters where any of them could have been the protagonist easily, then you've got a well thought out, quite a layered storyline going on. Due to certain circumstances, Legoshi ends up hunting Haru by mistake, and then he gets carried away, and it kind of starts to awaken some of his carnivore sides. And then the whole idea of like his identity comes into question. Is he a carnivore? Is he his own person? How much does his carnivore, being have an impact on his personality? And that's kind of where some of the story goes and explores. And to complicate things a little bit more, Legoshi falls in love with Haru, and Haru, she falls in love with Lewis. And it's a little bit of a weird love triangle. And obviously these two, being the largest and smallest people around, it's a bit awkward as well, and she's kind of scared of him, and he regrets that he attacked her. It's actually quite wholesome. It sounds worse than what it is. It's really wholesome, and he's a super sweet dude, and she's just trying to be her own person, and people treat her like dirt. So your most immediate comparisons is probably going to be to something like the Disney film Zootropolis, Zootopia, this kind of film. And basically Beastars, if you want to compare it, this is much more thought out. So Zootropolis kind of glosses over a lot of the details, just like how do you eat, what do you eat. Beastars goes into the nitty gritty of the details. It doesn't shy away from these kinds of issues, and they do come up. And that is another issue that might turn some people away. If you're going to have a romance in the series, you need to be prepared that it's going to go to the conclusion of this romance. And it does deal with that. I would say that one of the core themes of the entire series is desire. And desire, if you're a carnivore? Do you want to eat someone? If you're a herbivore, do you trust these people? And these desires are kind of mixed in with like romantic desires, physical desires, and a lot of these guys are super ambitious as well. So the desires from that as well, and how far these people are willing to go to get these desires. Okay, we're up to volume 4 now. So one thing, there are a lot of things that people might be like, oh, that's a bit weird with the animals. That's a bit weird with the, you know, the sexual. There's some quite strong violence at times as well, and the series does often take quite sharp, dramatic turns to the dark side. Yeah, so suddenly there's just some regular action going on, just some regular drama, a little bit of like shonen type of stuff, and then suddenly someone's been clawed and they got blood coming right out all over the place. And then there's the black market, which is quite bad. People talk about, like, you know, their sexual desires, and it's unexpected the way it just swerves in these directions at times, because the drama is quite intense and it does pick up when it chooses to. You need to keep up with it, because otherwise it's going to knock you off balance. And that is another reason why I like this one. I personally like the artwork as well. The first volume in particular is a little bit loose, and sometimes the proportions and stuff can be a little bit inconsistent. But you just kind of go with it. It's not that big a deal. It's kind of fine, and it kind of finds its way the more it goes on. By later volumes, it feels a little bit more solidified in how it wants to depict its story. And honestly, it's really well spaced out. Everything's shown really clearly. And one of the most interesting things is the use of tone. And the tones are really expressive. A lot of times in manga, you use the tone and it's just used essentially to colour in. It's like, oh, that's grey. That's a little bit darker grey. Oh, that's got lines on it. Whereas the tones in Beastars, they're really expressive, and they're very often used for specific purposes to convey a specific like mood or feeling. It's really impressed me. Once I noticed it, it's a really cool thing to check out. And then there's the question, what's better? Is the anime better or the manga's better? Normally, I say that whatever you come to first is the one that you prefer. I came to the manga first. I prefer the manga more. Also, watching the anime, I think the anime is kind of like a more focused, streamlined, and a little bit more like a cleaner version. And the presentation is basically just that little bit higher. The manga's a lot more expressive, and I do prefer that. I don't mind if things get a little bit out there and a little bit, just get it on the page. You know, don't worry about the details. Just make sure that you got your raw energy on there. And that's what I favour when I like to see a manga that's doing this kind of content. So overall, Beastars is just one big drama. It is anthropomorphic characters, and that might be a turn off for some people. It does have unpolished artwork at times, and that's also a turn off for some people. But I really like it. It's kind of like, oh, I read a volume, I put it down, I come back and get the next volume. Oh, I forgot how good it was. Also, the author, Paru Itagaki, whenever she's in a public appearance, she always wears a costume, and I can't help but respect that, because I've got my reasons, you know. So I think I've got a little bit of a kindred spirit here, and I do actually very much recommend Beastars. Pick these books up. They are actually quite hard to fit all together, but here they are. Beastars 1 to 5. I'm looking forward to getting volume 6, because that will finish off what is covered in the anime. And then from volume 7 onwards, I'm going to be getting ahead of what Netflix is showing us. And that is Beastars. And I hope you found this interesting. Yeah, check it out, please. But yeah, this is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.